Hello, hello, hello. My name is Muqka. I'm the founder of The Move, Building and Bridging Community. I'm here with Farrad.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today I will be interviewing
Denise.
Yes, and today we'll be talking about mental health, like what it looked like in her life, and what does it mean to her.
Hello, everybody. I am Kira Jones, as you know, the Chief Technical Officer for The Move. And this month for Suicide Awareness, we wanted to just connect with some community members to talk about mental health and persevering mental health. And so today I am here with my mother, the GOAT, who is often under our posts and lives in the flesh.
The month of September is Suicide Awareness Month, and we're both Black men, and we think that this conversation doesn't happen much in our community. So first thing off, Farrad, I want to ask you, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm healthy. My mental health is pretty good right now, so I'm doing pretty well.
Now, you see, I usually ask that question, and then to my friends, I usually ask, how are you really?
That's really opening up the question.
Right.
Like, you're not expecting a one-word answer, so.
Exactly.
Questions.
Exactly.
Was mental health talked about when you were growing up?
Mental health wasn't talked about when I was growing up. I feel like it was something that was more of a taboo. Not something that like my mother mentioned when my sister and I were growing up. I don't remember it being talked about in school either. It's just something I more heard of when I would say like high school, really. That was really like the era when I was talking about mental health, and I was like, okay, like exactly what is this? How do I take care of this? And I feel like I didn't really start really doing that until college when I had a lot of pressure and stress.
Why do you think it's so hard for Black men to talk about mental health?
That's a good question. Number one, we're not exposed to show emotions, to show feelings, to really express ourselves to folks. We're told we have to be strong, we have to be providers. There's no real time to reflect on your emotions or really feel. You have to do.
That action, all that action.
Right.
So when do you have time to actually check in on yourself?
Exactly, when you have time to take care of yourself, yeah.
And then others, like how are you gonna do that?
Right.
In your experience, is there men in your life who are in tune with their emotions and are in tune with their mental health?
More so my friends, male friends are no really male figures in my family really. Like I said, they were brought up in the way of being strong, being a dominant person and take care of family. So they really struggle with expressing their emotions. So
I hear that. I do the same thing with me. I think it's Black men especially. I feel like we go through this traditional form of masculinity, but also this hyper masculinity because of white supremacy, because of the patriarchy. We even have to be more ingrained in these traditional values so that we are able to go against all the things attacking our family. So we think we have to not show any emotion. Right. We can cry never. We can smile sometimes. We can be there for our son's hockey game or whatever, hockey. I can be there for our son's whatever game and cheer them on with a stern face and an eye.
Right.
We can never show too much emotion unless it's a big aggression. So I feel like for us, especially Black men, we have to take even more stride to talk about mental health.
Yeah.
First, I would like to ask, how has suicide or suicide ideation presented itself in your life, either directly or indirectly?
Well, as you know, I work at high school, and we often deal with students who are struggling with suicide ideation. And just a personal experience, a few years back, we had a student who she posted on Facebook or social media that she was going to commit suicide. Her friends did not take her seriously, and she did in fact pass away from her. She was successful in her attempt. The thing that I struggled with most during that time is I had a student who knew her personally, and she and I began to have a conversation about suicide, and I was able to help her understand some things about why it's important to use strategies to help you through the struggle.
So that really leads, thank you for, speaking on that. Very intense, very tough, and sending love to that student and her family.
Part of me wants to go on a rant on how capitalism goes inside our personal relationships to make a transaction. See, I'm going on a rant already, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask you my next question. Mm-hmm. My next question is, how do we stop the stigma? How do we go to a place where Black men are comfortable having these conversations, mm-hmm. or at least comfortable to know that there's people there to talk about mental health?
Mm-hmm. Takes a lot of courage, obviously. Really allowing yourself to open up, to be more vulnerable, to allow people to know more about yourself, how you're doing mentally. Really having conversations more with your family members and friends. Getting more content out to folks, using social media, other platforms, and having these difficult discussions about mental health with folks as well.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
So how do you think that we can make it more comfortable for people to talk about mental health so that others can start to develop those same or similar ways to cope with it? Because if we don't talk about it, then people don't acknowledge it and they don't know that it's there or that it's something they should be dealing with. So what ways do you feel like we can make it more a comfortable topic?
Like in regards to like among friends or just everyone in general?
We can start with friends because that's one of the ways that we can, push for this comfortability.
Yeah.
If with your friends and starting at that lower level and then, maybe expanding. But from there, like, I think it starts with your friends. So yeah, like, say for example, with me, what would you say to me, or like, how would you start a conversation about my mental health and making it comfortable and not something that's like, oh, like, I'm in your business or whatever. I mean, because you is in my business, but
right.
It's like a good in your business. Like, I want to know if your business is doing good, if it's doing bad.
Gotcha.
And if we can help, if we can help or whatever. So how would you facilitate that conversation?
Necessarily, I would kind of just ask you, like, how are you doing, like, checking in with you. Like, and that's crazy because I really just did that with my friend, like, before we started this. So, like, I called her, like, hey, I'm just checking in on you. Like, let me know how you doing. Like, just update me. I just want to make sure that you're good. But if we're in person, I would just honestly ask you that in person.
Yeah.
And just kind of be in more like a chill environment. I wouldn't do something like if we're like a fancy place or nothing like that. Chill, like a car type environment, regular conversation. I don't know, like maybe like us having like a journaling session. Like I did that with my other friend. We do journaling sessions where we both just like listen to music and we're in the same space and we journal. Maybe we can do something like that. Or even go on a walk together and just like calmly talk about mental health, check in with each other. Without me being too nosy, sometimes you know when somebody being too nosy. They're asking too many deep questions.
Right, because now it's not my mental health. Now you want to know about this and that.
Who my man's
and what you doing? Like, no. We gotta backtrack.
Right.
But if your man is contributing to the mental health, then okay, yeah. But yeah.
So I guess that's how I like navigate the conversation.
Okay.
It's hard to say like without me being in that situation.
Right.
But, yeah.
Because it's very from person to person. You don't want to go about it the same with everyone because it's not gonna work that way. And
true.
Everyone's different, and so I think that's important. You want to acknowledge that, especially dealing with mental health, because people might not be feeling like they're not special, but like feel like they're needed. Like people enjoy the space, and so like you treat them like everyone else, and like not acknowledge that they're unique and stuff.
Right.
Then they might start to feel far more into depression and have more mental health issues, and it just becomes something that grows bigger instead of helping.
You have to find what works for that person.
Right.
So hearing that wellness check-in between us in the beginning that we did, how do you check in with your friends and family?
Yeah, usually with my phone, having conversations with them, social media, text, stuff like that. But usually asking them, going beyond asking them how are they doing, what's going on in their life, personally, professionally. Yeah, that's the main question I tend to ask friends and family members.
Do you, have you always done that, I guess?
No, I haven't.
When was the pivot for you?
Really, when we started having conversations about mental health and right questions to ask folks. So
Fairly recent then.
fairly recent.
I gotta say me too.
The last year or so.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel since then?
I feel a lot better. I feel more connected to my family members and friends now. I don't feel like they're not just giving me one-word answers to get through the conversation. So it's really opening up our ability to connect.
What advice do you have for our generation who really struggles with mental health and just financial and spiritual and just all the things that are really coming to the forefront because of social media and constantly ringing in our head? You know, how can we persevere through, you know, tough times that arise every second of the day so that, you know, we don't lean so much towards that side of the spectrum?
I think it's important. It starts with simple things, just simple things. Not even knowing yourself, but being self-aware of your emotions. You have to know when the struggle is beginning before it gets real. You have to know that, okay, I'm not eating, or I'm crying every day, or just the things that I'm dealing with are so overwhelming. And once a teenager or a youth understands that, they recognize those signs, then they can begin to deal with those things. So some of the strategies that I would recommend, of course, is mindfulness. Take a breath. You can do it anywhere. You can do it while sitting at a football game. You can do it while sitting in your classroom at high school or college. You can do it in the grocery line. You could do it in your car before you go into work. Just take in deep breaths, count, hold them. Mindfulness is good because it doesn't tell you to forget about your situation. It just tells you to focus. Take a moment to focus on your breath, which means that you're focusing on yourself. Mindfulness is a great self-care tool. The other thing that I would recommend is that you journal. Kira's a great journaler. I recommend that you journal. You just write things down, because we don't always want to talk to people. You know, the advice is always go talk to somebody. But, you know, I understand that you may not always have somebody that you can trust, or even somebody who can really handle the things that you're telling them. Some of young people, I know that you're struggling with serious things. So if there's something that you really can't tell someone else, write it. Just free write it in your journal. Read it to yourself. Come to terms with what you're struggling with. And then rewrite it in a way that you'll be able to share with someone. Our generation does have sound advice. We seriously have been through the things that you have been with. And I told Kira I was going to share a story about myself personally, but I personally have struggled with suicide, even as an adult. A teenager, adult, a youth, whatever. But you have to talk it out, because older people, seasoned people, have good advice. It doesn't matter sometimes who the messenger is. The message is what matters. So those are the two things that I really advise.
So with that, all the stress and pressure coming in with you in college, how did you take care of your mental health then? Or like, how do you do that now, continue since you've graduated from college?
For me, it was more like, since I have my own bathroom, I would take like long hot showers and really just like, you know, just like settle down, like wind down for my whole day. Just like not be on my phone. My phone don't do not disturb me. Like, just take this time that I need to just really wind down. I couldn't have candles, so it was just like I like dim my lights, you know, put on like my mood lights and things like that.
Yeah.
That really helped me. And then just listening to like calm R&B music, like that was my like go-to.
Okay.
And that's like, in a sense, still my go-to, what I do now.
So, along with that, is there anything else that you do when, like, say you're feeling sad one day, like, how do you uplift yourself from those emotions so that you don't sit in that all day? Because, you know, it's not really healthy to some extent. I mean, yes, you're supposed to feel your emotions, but you shouldn't be, like, you know, soaking in them for like over a week if you can help it.
Yeah.
And so, like, what do you do to like move yourself forward to a more positive direction?
Yeah. Well, I would definitely say it is easy to soak in your emotions and like just like dwell in that moment and sit in it. I can definitely say I have done that before. I have like listened to sad music and just like put on baggy clothes and just like sit in the dark. Like honestly, like I have done that.
Okay, yeah.
And I have done that recently just because it's like, sometimes things just get too hard and it's like I don't want to have to worry about that. I'm gonna just like find my own distraction. Even though I know it's not healthy, I still do it just because it's easy, and it's something that's very comfortable. But really, for me to step outside of that, I go to the beach, honestly. The beach is like a safe place.
So, in regards to mental health, what are you going to do today to work on your mental health and make sure that you're in tune with that?
Yeah. So, since it's the evening time, I'm going to go in the house. I'm going to, eat my dinner. I'm going to take a bath tonight. I'm taking a nice warm bubble bath, just relax, calm down. And then I'm put on some nice comfy pajamas and just like lay down. I'm not gonna lay down and like listen to sad music or anything like that. I might just lay down and like watch Hulu or something. But just some things that I know that works for me and just allow me to, just
things that you like to do. And that's actually like bubble bath, just to suggest this, because I do this as well on Sundays, try to. But like I don't know what it is, but like the bath, like the water, just like I could feel like something.
Epsom salt. Epsom salt too.
Okay. And so with the bubbles and the water, it just like I actually feel like a chill or something. the emotions leave. And it's just a nice calming feeling. So if y'all having troubles figuring out what to do for your like mental health routine or something like that, a bath is most definitely the way to go. Man or woman, we're not sexist about it. Get in the bathtub. You'll enjoy it.
That's really all my questions, Farrad. That's all the questions I have. I do want to ask you, what are you most looking forward to right now?
Oh, I'm looking forward to living it up here in Atlanta. I just moved here recently. My roommate, obviously. So, really taking up all my opportunities that I can here, making some more money. Not that that's going to bring me happiness, but it will allow me to enjoy things.
Get to the money,
right?
Get to the money.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going to bring you joy today?
It's going to bring me joy today. Hanging out with my friends.
And that's it.
That's it.
And that's all I gotta be.
That's all I need.
That's all you need.
You gotta make me laugh, which I love to do.
Right,
so.
laughter is joy.
It is.
I feel like laughter is revolutionary. It's radical.
It is. I think everybody needs it. Yeah.
Period.
Well, we appreciate you for stopping by and being vulnerable and open. And we just hope that, in closing this month out, that these are just things that we can really think about as a community and, think about as a community, how can we use these strategies and additional ones to just be pushed through these tough times, because it is an issue and it is valid. Our emotions and our feelings are valid, but how can we persevere? So thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, movers and shakers. Again, this is Muqka Pool. We got Farrad with us today. We had a conversation on mental health, suicide awareness. I do want to say that sometimes checking in with folks is the least you can do. Checking in with folks and being there and showing that you can be present and that you are here for them is the least that you can do. And sometimes it's the most that you can do too. But as a community that wants to support each other, as a community that wants to build and bridge together, we have to understand that we have to check in with one another. We have to forget that that we're just going to work every day, we're just driving home every day, we're just eating dinner every day, but there's people across from us, there's people with us, there's people in community with us. So let's check in on them. Let's ask them how are they doing. Let's ask them how are they really doing. Let's ask them what's on their mind, what's bothering them, what's on their heart, what's on their soul, what's on their spirit. What do they want to talk about?
You never know how that question is going to impact that person's life for the day.
You never know. You never know. And to my black men that's out there, my brothers, my siblings that's out there, let's have that conversation. Let's challenge our friend groups. Let's challenge our family members to have that conversation and start that conversation and ask how we really are doing and ask what's really going on. because we can't do the same things we've been doing.
No.
They haven't been working. They haven't. Those tools haven't been working. We can't use the master's tools to dismantle the master's house.
You gotta start fresh.
Gotta start fresh. So let's be different. Let's be different from our ancestors. I know that we did things in the past because we had to survive. We had to get to a space where we actually were alive. But now we have the means to actually check in with one another. I would even challenge that. Back then, we challenged each other. We checked in some way, somehow. And still today, we might still do that. We might still do that. I want to say thank you to some of my family members because we've just started having a conversation on mental health. Like, we just started having a conversation and saying sorry for treating each other in a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
Being extra aggressive towards each other in a certain way. Using words that you should never use towards your family members. So, my challenge to you all, our challenge to you all, is to be more strategic and intentional with your daily interactions with people, with your family, with your friends, and for your community. Again, building and bridging community. Have a good day. Yeah.
Stay safe.
There we go. Let's see how long that was. That was 11. So Farrad, my first question is, what's joy? What's happiness?
Oh, that's a good question. Joy is, I think, something that really sticks with you, something you feel when you're in a specific spot every day. I think happiness is a state of being. It can disappear, it can come back. So really seeking joy over happiness, I think, is something people should start to do.
Seeking joy over happiness. So we know the social media terms, Black boy joy. I like that. And I'll tell you why. And I think we already discussed this before. I think happiness is curated. Happiness is, the media has taken happiness.
Yeah.
You know, the media has recommended happiness. You know, you can buy a pair of shoes and be happy for that moment. You can eat a piece of cake and be happy for that moment.
Right.
But when you're with your community, when you with your family, when you with your friends, that joy come up, right? That's that smile, not just on the outside, on the inside too. And
it feeds your spirit.
It feeds your spirit, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So I think we should chase joy. I'm gonna take that back. I don't think joy is running from us.
Right.
I think joy is with us, and that we just have to embrace it. Joy is always with us, and it's always the ability to switch on that joy. Not a positive, toxic positivity standpoint, but like there's joy always there. Meaning that if I'm having a hard day, if I'm going through the rigmarole of things, and I'm just stressing, calling my mom and talking to her about it brings me joy. And my mom, gratefully, is always there so I can talk to her and bring me that joy. But I have other things too, like Farrad is also my roommate. So if I'm having a stressful day, I might go out and start that conversation with Farrad, and that's gonna bring me joy. Not to get a little mushy and like that.